I'm excited with this lab. It's going to be a lot of fun. The baby face lab, I'll show you a couple of examples on how to do it, and then you can get to rolling here. So if you want to take a look at the lab handout, this is kind of, yours looks a little better because I fixed it for you to have a electronic document you can type right in there. So this lists all of your genetic characteristics. This is where you're going to record your phenotype, what you look like, physical appearance, and then the possible genotype. I'll show you how to find that, and then your alleles in the gametes. So for the first characteristic, face chin shape, if you go to the packet reference that's posted on Canvas, for the face chin shape, you can either have a round face or a square face. This is found on chromosome 1. I'll show you what that means in a second. But if you have a round face, then your genotype could be either big R or big R little r. And it all depends on your parents. Or if you don't know, just choose the big R little r. And if you have a square face, let's say that that's your genotype. A square face is big R, little r. It's the recessive trait. So you go back to your electronic version here and write square for your face shape. And your possible genotype is the little r. So for the allele in the gamete for face shape, because of the law of segregation, the little r separates. So there's only going to be one little r in the sex cell, in the gamete, in the egg or the sperm. Let's do the cleft chin. That one here, also on chromosome 1. If you don't have a cleft chin, if it's absent, you're the dominant trait. So you could be big A or big A, little a. If you don't know based on your parents, just go with the big A, little a. Or if you do have a cleft chin, that's the recessive trait. So that would be little a, little a. So let's say you don't have a cleft chin. So, or they call it a butt chin if you're not sure what that is. And on any of these traits, if you're not sure, just take a look online, do a Google search. But if, so I'm going to say cleft chin, we'll say big A, little a is the genotype. So for here, cleft chin is absent. And the genotype would be big A, little a. So for the allele, since now these two A's separate and they're different, big A or little a, you'll flip a coin. So big A would be heads and little a will be tails. So flip the coin, I got heads. So in the alleles, that big A is going to go in the gamete for the production of the sex cells. Okay, and so the skin color one, the third one on this next page, gives an example of polygenic inheritance. It's also one of your words on the flashcards, polygenic inheritance. So if you look up at the definition in the book, it's an additive effect of two or more genes on a single phenotypic character. Like skin color, height, hair color, eye color. What that's saying is there's more than one gene on the that controls this phenotype. So if you have, instead of just like for height in pea plants, you had a tall plant or a dwarf plant. There's no in between. But in humans, we have all kinds of heights. So in actuality, they say there's over 180 genes that are related to height, which means there's 360 alleles. So that schematic there is more of like a continuum. You could have very dark, a very tall person down to the very short person, depending on how those 180 genes interact with dominancy. Okay, so with that in mind, we'll go to the skin color here. The skin color in the packet. Skip all this, flip your coin, because we're going to go with your skin color. So choose what skin color you are. And this is usually based on ethnicity. So Caucasians are usually in the light brown to white. Medium browns to dark browns are usually Latino, and black to very black are usually African American. So go kind of by that scheme. So let's say you're medium brown skin, and this 4 capitals refers to the idea that skin color has 4 genes. Of course, there's more than that, but in our simulation, we're going to simplify it a little bit. So there's a gene on chromosome 2, 4, 5, and 21. And all 4 genes make up 8 alleles in the somatic cells and 4 alleles in the gametes. So in your somatic cells, you have 8 alleles. If 4 of the 8 alleles are capital letters, then that makes the skin medium brown, because you've got a little mix of dark color, which is dominant over light, and a little mix of the light color, so it makes a medium brown colored skin. So that could be your genotype there. 4 capital letters, 1 big A, 1 big B, 1 big C, 1 big D, and 4 little letters, little a, little b, little c, little d. So that would be your skin color that you record in your phenotype, medium brown. And the genotype, big A, big B, big C, big D, little d. So when you get to the gametes, the A's separate from each other, the B's separate, the C's, and so do the D's. So you're going to flip a coin for each one of those letters. So A, flip the coin. I have heads. B, flip the coin. I have tails. For C's, flip the coin. Heads. And for D, flip the coin. Heads. So out of the 4 possible alleles that I'm going to pass on in the gametes, 3 of them carry the dominant trait, which is the darker skin color. So that's fairly dark skin with a little light to put it on that spectrum. All right, so that's an example. Continue filling out the rest of this. Do the same with your partner on table 1, 2, and also following your chromosome sheet. Oh, let me show you that real quick before we close out here. The alleles for the skin, for the face and the chin shape. So you have face shape, which is little r, so that will go under here. And for cleft chin was absent, the big A, so that goes here. And with skin color, you have 4 genes, and they're spread out here. So there's chromosome 2, there's skin color, so that's the A. For chromosome 4 has the B, which was a little b. Chromosome, let's look at my sheet here. Chromosome 5 has the big C, and then chromosome 21 has the big D. So the skin color goes on 4 different genes in your sex cells on these are your chromosomes in your sex cells, the gametes. So you notice that there's only 1 of each of the pairs. So there's 23 there. When you get to the sex chromosomes, if you read in the handout, if you're female, you have 2 X's, but in the sex cells, you're only going to have 1. And if you're male, you either have an X or a Y, so you're going to flip the coin to decide which one's in your gamete down here for the gender. When you're finished, you'll have something that looks like this. This is a karyotype of your baby, and you'll see 2 chromosome 1s. Oops, that one's missing. 2 of chromosome 2, 2 of chromosome 3, 2 of chromosome 4, and so on. So each color represents a different person. The pink's one parent and the green's from the other parent. And when they come together, they produce the genotype. Like for here, the skin, let's use the nostril shape. For on the 22nd chromosome, there's a big R from one parent and the little r from the other parent. So looking up on your paper, you'll decide what the nostril shape is based on that genotype. And that will be what's recorded in your baby's table. All right, so that should do it. Let me know if you have any questions.